In this video, I'm going to share exactly how much money I made on eBay part-time in 2024, down to the exact dollar. I'll show you what items did well and a few big lessons I learned along the way. And honestly, it went way better than I ever could have imagined. So in total, I listed 1,087 items on eBay in 2024. And one of my big takeaways from this past year was that consistency is king. So before I started my new job as a stay-at-home dad, I actually had a career in sales. So I used to sell internet advertising. And a big part of success in that job is just putting in the work and having a system that you can trust and rely on. And the job was you make a bunch of phone calls, you set a few meetings, and hopefully you make a sale or two every day. It really was a numbers game. And having a system in place, it helps you feel confident that the work you're putting in will ultimately lead to the result. So similar on eBay, trying to list a few items every single day is going to lead to success in the long run. So my goal that I'd set for myself at first was listing at least one high quality item every single day. Now, over time that grew. And then ultimately I ended up settling on active listings goals. So at first I was trying to get to 50 listings, which felt like a lot. And then it was 100 listings, which felt impossible. And then eventually it got to 250 high quality active listings was the goal of what we've tried to maintain. Right now we're sitting at about 220 to 230 after the holidays. We haven't been listing as aggressively. I've been spending a lot of time, getting this room ready, putting a bunch of work into this. Now this year I have a goal I'd like to get to by the end of the year, 500 high quality active listings on eBay. The goal of doing that is to ultimately make more money in the end. But having that system in place and being consistent is going to produce results in the long run. So in 2024, I sold 834 items in total, averaging 2.2 sales per day. So compared to the roughly 1,000 items that I listed last year, having 800 plus sales, I'm absolutely thrilled with. And that shows that the system I'm trying to hold myself to is actually paying off. So a big part of this for me is trying to be as efficient with my time as possible. And that's the second lesson. It's just to find as many areas as possible to save time and be more efficient. Like I said before, I really don't have that much time to put into this. So any angle I can find to cut some time and to get more out of the time I am spending is going to be something I'm going to pursue aggressively. A simple thing, very early on, we were printing labels out of the laser printer, cutting them out with scissors, and then taping them onto the box. It would take a really long time. And we're at the point now where, again, consistently we're selling 2 to 3 items per day. So I put about 50, 60 bucks into a dedicated thermal printer and a dedicated shipping scale. This has way more than paid for itself. It saves so much time every day. Monday tends to be the busiest packing day. So on a Monday, or maybe you have 10 to 15 items to pack. That happens pretty regularly. This, maybe saves me 3 to 4 minutes every single time I pack a box. That adds up to a lot of time over the course of a year. So that's an example of an efficiency that I've tried to pursue. But there's other ways to be efficient and to save time as well. Maybe sourcing strategies, when you go, where you go, how often. For example, I go to my local thrift store, try to go once a week at least, and they have a sale day. So Wednesday, they do like a color tag system, which if you're thrifting regularly, you know about something like this, where to try to move older inventory, they will run a sale on a particular color. Wednesday is the day that they change the colors at this thrift store I go to. So going Wednesday morning, right when things go on sale, is a very good time to go. It's very efficient. What items you source can also improve your efficiency. Because again, if you buy an item with a low sell-through rate, you still have to clean it, make sure it works, take photos of it, write a description, list it. If it sells, you have to package it, bring it to the post office and send it off. And it takes up space while it's not selling. So that's not efficient either. You might have to get a bigger storage space if you're buying a lot of items with low sell-through rates. Again, for me, because this is a part-time side hustle, this isn't, maybe one day, but this isn't my full-time job yet. I'm trying to be as efficient as possible with time and space and all these other things. So when it comes to, making sure you're buying the right types of items, a big mistake that I made early on was buying some really big items. Maybe they had held a lot of value, but the sell-through rate was low. So there were these giant items that had sat in our basement for 6 months plus. Then again, we don't have this massive space to just leave things around waiting for them to sell. So we ultimately ended up dropping the prices on them, getting them to move, and then being a little bit more strategic with the types of items that we pick up. If we're going to grab something really big, it has to have a very fast sell-through rate and be worth the money to justify all of that work that goes into taking photographs of it, listing it, and then packing and shipping really big items is a lot of work too. Not that I won't do it, you got to make sure that it's worth your time. And then one more big development over the past week, I've actually set up a light box. So that's going to be another thing that helps me save a lot of time every day. For example, it is literally snowing outside right now. The light is not good. I used to shoot photos on my dining room table. The light is very inconsistent. It's also difficult to white balance. So if you're trying to maybe take a picture of something where the color of it really matters, like an article of clothing or something like that, not being able to accurately show the color is quite annoying. So the light box is going to solve a lot of those problems and again, make us more efficient and get more out of the limited time that we're putting into this side hustle. So I sold 834 items in 2024, which generated $34,454.97 in gross sales. And the biggest category for me by far was video games. It accounted for 34% of my sales by revenue. And the next highest was Lego sets at 6% of my revenue. And that leads me to another big lesson from this year, which is to sell things you like. So, of course, you can make money selling things you don't like, but at that point, I might as well get my boring corporate sales job back. That's not why I'm doing this. Yes, it is to make money, but it's also to have fun. I like going to thrift stores. I like going to garage sales, and I love the thrill of the hunt and looking for things that, I want to collect too. So I'm finding items to flip. I'm finding some things for myself. That helps keep me motivated. Early on, I was pretty much just buying anything, things that I thought, would hold value. I ultimately ended up with this giant pile of used clothing that I just did not want to list. It is absolutely not my thing. I do not give a crap about men's fashion. Sure, I like to buy a nice t-shirt every once in a while, but I don't know all the ins and outs of every little brand and what's the cut of this or cut of that or whatever. I really don't know anything about it. And I probably never will because I don't have the motivation to learn about that category. Now, when it comes to video games, it's very exciting to learn about all the ins and outs of the collectible market behind video games and what is popular at the moment. If a price of something spikes and to be on the lookout for that, that's exciting. And when you ask someone for video games at a garage sale and they bring out some huge bundle of awesome stuff and you keep an item or two for yourself and sell some things to make up the difference, that is very exciting and is very motivating to keep going out and looking. And granted, I don't find video game stuff that often. It's very competitive, but it's the possibility of finding cool stuff that I like that keeps me going out. Same thing with the Lego sets. I've found that there's really not that much competition for Lego. I think because people just don't want to sort through it. It's kind of a lot of work, but it's fun work to me. I grew up loving Lego, but I used to get, maybe 1 to 2 sets a year max. They're so expensive. And even as an adult with some disposable income, I was not really buying Lego sets. They're just too expensive. Even when they would put out the really cool ones, they just announced the Ocarina of Time Deku Tree.
Listen.
Which looks amazing, but I think it's like $300 or $400. I'm never going to buy that, but I bet you in a couple years, I'll find it somewhere. I just have a feeling. Same thing with there's this awesome Nightmare Before Christmas set that's out right now. Realistically, I'm not going to pay retail price for those. So we bought a crap ton of Lego this summer and we've slowly been sorting through it. I'll build a set, have fun with it. My daughter likes to build them with me. We'll display it for a week or two. And I'm not trying to collect Lego necessarily. I just like the building process of it. Then I get to sell it. So I get to engage with the video game hobby at a deep, deep, deep discount, if not profitably. And same thing with Lego. I'm getting to engage with the Lego hobby. That is traditionally a very, very expensive hobby, pretty much for free or profitably. I am making money getting to build Lego sets, which is like a dream job. So one of my favorite buys from this past year at a garage sale for $10, I bought a box of Lego space sets. I ended up sorting through it. It was a really fun project. I had a lot of fun actually sorting them and then building the sets. It ended up being about 8 sets from the late 70s and early 80s. I've never owned any of these sets before. They were a blast to build, super nostalgic, and made a couple $100 too. So after my cost of goods, miscellaneous fees, taxes, eBay fees, all that sort of stuff, my roughly $34,500 in gross sales accounted for about $15,000 in my pocket profit this year. So that's after every expense, including income taxes. I put about $15,000 in my pocket buying and selling items on eBay this year. And again, this is my first year. I think on average, I put about 10 to 15 hours Between both my wife and I think we put about 15 hours total every single week into this side hustle. So doing some of the math, we're making about $20 to $25 an hour. And the results from this past year have well exceeded the expectations that I had in mind for this. I'm absolutely thrilled where it's gone, and I really do think it's just the beginning. And if you'd like to see where this goes from here, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps. You know, I'm new on YouTube as well. Hopefully you can learn a few things from me and have some fun along the way. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.